Welcome back to another episode of Dentside Depot. Today we're going to be looking again at my little blue 1979 Ford F100, and what we're going to be doing on it is installing LMC's tucked rear bumper bracket along with their rear bumper that I have painted Wimbledon white. So sit back and relax. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Okay, so we're going to get started here, but really quick before I do, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is my 79 F100 in light blue. It's a 4-speed on the floor with a Explorer trim package on it. Factory blue on blue that I got shipped here to PA from Oregon, and it is an all original, completely untouched truck with a straight 6 in it. I did a little bit of restoration work on this truck. You can check it out on my channel if you like to. But today we're going to be installing LMC's rear tucked bumper, as I previously said. So the first step is, well, obviously ordering the parts from LMC, but the first step is to install the rear bumper brackets. I believe they're about $200 or so. You can also get all the hardware, and they will actually tuck the bumper in closer to the back of the bed. The factory bumper bracket has a large gap. It's out to about here, and then you will see that the LMC bracket tucks it in to be about a 1/4 inch away. Now, one other thing you might want to take into consideration before you get started on this job is that the factory bumper bolts are actually a special size in that you can't just go to a regular hardware store and get these size bolts. They are, where is it here? 9/16 by 12 by 1.5. So if you need hardware, replacement hardware for the brackets in the rear section, you will need to most likely special order them. I just happen to have a few bags of them in stock because I know they're difficult to get. That's the size that they are. Now, of course, aftermarket ones won't have the factory looking head style on them, but grade 8 is always good, and that's what I tend to use. So let's get right into it here. Our first step is going to be installing the 2 brackets, and the way this works is you have one bracket that goes here with the ears sticking outward, and then the other bracket goes right on top of it like this with this facing up, and they're different for each side. Now, one thing I will point out is I have another set of these on the Junior Mint truck, and the welds on them look very nice. They're not cheap welds. They're definitely very good. They're not completely welded together, so you certainly could do more welding on it if you wanted to, but they look really nice. I just hit these with paint. The last set that I did, I got powder coated. I might get these powder coated at some point, but just gonna put them on with paint for today because I'm probably gonna take it back apart at some point. Okay, so let me get my tools ready here, set up the camera, and we'll get going. All right, so let's get this going here. Okay. This part is pretty straightforward and simple to do by yourself. So you're just taking the 2 brackets, you're getting them in there. I like to get the rear one started here. And this one is threaded into the frame. So if your frame's really rusty, you might need to clean it up a little bit first and make sure that the threads are in better condition. I cleaned my bolt up on the wire wheel and it was fine. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to use an aftermarket bolt, grade 8, with the washer. Like I said before, if you want these, you have to special order them. You're not just going to be able to get them at Home Depot. There we go. And then the same thing on the other end. 9/16 bolt. You definitely do not want to tighten these up all the way. Just get them so they're somewhat snug, because you are going to have to make adjustments on this once the bumper is somewhat in place. These usually get pretty tight. I did hit it with a little bit of lube first. And again, I'm just taking it all the way down so it's almost tight, maybe even just a little bit snug, so I can have the bumper adjusting to be very close to getting it all the way tight, but not so tight that I can't make adjustments with the brackets while the bumper is up. I'm just going to back it off a little bit from there, not much. And that's probably good because I want to be able to move the actual bumper in and out once it's mounted to the brackets. So that's what that looks like right there. And then on the other side, and that's it. Now I'm going to do the same step, same process on the other side, and then we're going to put the bumper on. Okay, so I have both of the brackets on, and I've actually already put the white bumper up to the back, and it turns out I just didn't like it because it wasn't matching the color of the faded Ford letters. It matches the antique white stripes on the side, but so what I did was I went on Facebook Marketplace and I found a chrome one, fortunately, that was used that kind of matches the patina of it. So I haven't put this one up yet. Let's take a look here, see what we got. Of course, this is always easier if you have a buddy to help you out. Here, I'm just going to start putting my top bolts in. Stays in place. Go. All right, so now the next step is you want to get all of the hardware in, including the bottom ones, and then start adjusting it. But you can see essentially how close it is, and that's exactly what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be tucked in just like that. Very close. This side is very, very close. I'm going to pull it out a little bit, but you can see that's essentially what it's going to look like. So I'm going to start getting the hardware tightened down, and then I'm going to show you how to do the adjustment process, but I can already say I'm liking the look of the chrome over the white a lot better. So let me get this tightened down here, and then I'll show you the adjustment. Okay, so the bumper's on and it's all adjusted. This project did not end up going the way I had initially anticipated. I did make another change on it. I put grade 8 bolts on the bottom just because I had some interference. This bumper might be a little bit bent over here and I didn't want to risk getting the carriage bolts stuck. So, and I actually used the carriage bolts that came with this bumper when I got it. Here's your final measurements that you're going to get on this tucked bumper. It's going to be somewhere between a 1/16 and an 1/8 on each side. Mine is slightly less than an 1/8 gap. And then on the end, take your straight edge, put it up against the bed, and it's going to stick out roughly, kind of hard to see, but it's going to stick out roughly an 1/8 and a half from the edge of the bed on each side, is at least how I got it. So it looks really cool. The LMC brackets are pretty good. This truck was a little more difficult than the other one I'm going to show you in a second, just because this is a Ford bumper and it's definitely a 50-year-old bumper. But I'm happy with the final outcome, and now this truck has back to all Ford sheet metal again. So I guess everything happens for a reason here, but it looks really cool. I'm really happy with the way it looks. So pretty stoked about it. Let's go out and let's look at Junior Mint and see what the tucked bumper looks like on that. And here's what it looks like on Junior Mint. This one is sticking out slightly farther. This is an LMC bumper, not a Ford one. This one's sticking out slightly more than an 1/8, I believe what it was. But I had zero issues getting this one to bolt up using LMC's hardware and everything. I guess it was just the Ford bumper that didn't like the brackets as much, whatever it may be. But depending on the truck you're building, I think this is a really good way to go. I think it looks really cool. If you like this episode of Dentside Depot, remember to like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next episode.